Hey guys, welcome back to Accursed Brew. My name is Azriel, and as usual, I got my boy Anthony here with me.
Today, we're going to be giving our first impressions of Split Fiction. So, a little bit of background on Split Fiction, if you don't know, which I'm sure you do because it's massive already. It's by Hazelight Studios. It's their newest co-op action adventure game. They're the team responsible for A Way Out in 2018 and 2021's Game Awards Game of the Year winner, It Takes Two, which I don't know about you guys, but I had a great time with both of those games.
Oh yeah, those games are fucking. You know what? I don't think I ever beat A Way Out, but I did play It Takes Two right up until the end. They were
Yeah,
great.
they're great. It's like those games are like games that I always play with like new girlfriends because they're very easy like couch co-op like fun games together for people that don't like usually play video games, but they're also pretty good mechanically as well.
Yeah. Like they're not. It doesn't require very much of you, but you can have a lot of fun with it. Like
Yeah.
regardless. Now just a real quick little bit on the story, because I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm just going to give you sort of the immediate groundwork that they hit you with in the opening scene, and then from there we'll pivot into the rest of the game. Split Fiction has each person playing as either one of two protagonists, so Zoe or Mio. They're both aspiring authors who were invited by Raider Publishing, which is feels like it's being set up to be the antagonist of the game, but they were invited to test out their new simulation device in hopes of getting their work either published in Zoe's case or a payout for Mio. Now, the simulation is designed to have both of them run through their own stories, and Zoe's eagerness has her opt into this like immediately with zero hesitation, which
She's
is
like
then
the first one in the bubble, yeah.
yeah, she could care less. She's like, bet, like that sounds fun, let's do it. But this is in direct contrast with Mio's reluctance, given that this really isn't what anyone signed up for. They kind of just threw the part of it being their own stories on them right when they got there. And then some things kind of transpire, and one thing leads to the next, and we find both of our protagonists accompanying one another in each of their own stories. Whether those are some of the new stories that they're working on, some of the older ones, whatever the case is, they're running through them. I don't know if you have anything to add on the story, but if not, man, tell me how you've been feeling about the gameplay of it.
Not much to add on the story. I mean, I do think that it's a really cool concept. I like how they set it up, but it's well done, and it gives them the flexibility to explore multiple different settings, which I think they do a wonderful job in. So the gameplay I think is like really solid. Every level that we've tried so far, which we haven't tried much, we only played for about 2 hours the other day. Um, but every level that we've gotten into so far and every like side quest has had different mechanics, different setups. Each character has different things to do. For example, one of the first levels is like a sci-fi kind of city type thing. It's one of Mio's stories because she's a sci-fi writer and Zoe's a fantasy writer, so that's kind of how they separate the two. And like Mio has like a cyber ninja sword and Zoe has like a gravity whip. It's like super sick, and you have to like work together using each of your abilities to do different things to progress in the levels.
Yeah, it's really fun that they're. It's so like it's like you're really feeding off of one another. It's not just like kind of you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and then we progress. It's like I have to do my thing to enable your thing to then let me do mine, which then lets you progress. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like cooperation that's required to kind of just progress through some of the puzzles. Some of them are really simple, like just you do your thing, I do mine. But I do like how a good chunk of them are very much like very dynamic. Like let me do
Yeah,
me, you do you. Even some of the boss fights, like that was really fun. Because it's very much like, hey, like I gotta time this like 3, 2, 1, and then like I'll fucking do my thing, and then you have to grab it, and then
yeah. It's like you got to communicate. You got to like work together. Like kick something into the air, and then the other person has to grab it while it's still in the air. That type of thing. Um, I do think that they like more often than not, it's that instead of the all right, we both got to progress down this hallway separately, and then we'll meet back up at a certain point. Very much they'll throw like things in like, oh, you have to break this window for them using this thing so they could get past while you're progressing together. It's very cool.
yeah, yeah, and to kind of add on top of that too, the actual traversal, like the parkouring, which I loved when they dropped that in the middle.
Parkour.
Yeah, like
It is the writing is very cheesy, but it's not. It's self-aware enough to be like funny. Like
yeah.
they like there's a part where you dive into a pile of hay and one of the characters goes, you just have to take a leap of faith and you do the exact Assassin's Creed like swan dive and everything. It's very tongue in cheek and self-referential.
Yeah, yeah, I love how corny it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it really enjoyable. But the mechanics of the game are super tight when you're jumping from like A to B, when you're just sort of doing like your general sort of traversal, the jumping, the dashing, it feels really good. It doesn't ever feel like I'm fighting against the game, which sometimes can be the case in some like platformers. I feel like it becomes sort of cumbersome. Now, granted, we've only played a couple hours. Maybe it gets worse. I can't imagine. But at least so far, what we've played has felt really tight, very like responsive. The fighting in the game too feels really, really good. It's super simple. It is not complicated by any means, although it doesn't need to be. This is really not that kind of game. But the combat in it feels pretty decent too. It's fun when you, like you was saying earlier with the gravity weapon and then the sword. The sword kind of lets you do a similar action like Final Fantasy, what was that, 15, where you would throw the sword and teleport to it. It does something similar, and it just looks fucking cool. And like all the scenery and things like that, which is something we should jump into next, which is like sort of the aesthetic of the world. And all the levels that we've been in have been fucking sick. Like it opens up with episode 4, it then pivots into like cyberpunk. Um, there's a side story that it's gonna
Like
be
the
kind of hard.
sand shark thing,
Yeah,
like
like that
yeah.
was fun. And then that other one too, which we should stay really vague about. It involves hot dogs, but that was
Yes.
a lot of fucking fun. And it's just they're just like fun aesthetics, man. Like they really lean into the identity of the world that you're in. Um, and they just make it look cool. Like I feel fucking cool when I'm in them, regardless of
That's the
which
thing
one
is
it
like
is.
I'm looking forward so much, like as much fun as I'm having like playing the game, I'm almost looking more forward to getting back into it to see the new levels.
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Because it's cool because they're really giving themselves a lot of room to work with, especially if they are gonna be more corny, more self-referential, and things like that. I think that really opens the door for a lot of opportunity for them to do some like really fun shit. And I just think it's a matter of time until we come across that. It should be every
Yeah,
level. I would
already
imagine is gonna be really fucking
like
creative.
there was like those two side missions, and like you said, the one that involved food and hot dogs and stuff, like that was very kind of goofy, silly. There's certain, instead of having a sword, as he had a very fun ability that I won't get too much into. Maybe he'll show it on the screen here. I'm not sure, but
Nah, nah,
it
nah.
was a very very fun experience. But then the other one was like, oh, we're like playing Dune. Like it was like kind of serious and really cool and sick. Like it goes back and forth between the two. Like this is super goofy and oh, this is actually awesome.
Yeah, no, it really does, and it even has like sort of a serious undertone when it comes to some of the villains. Like at least an attempt at it, but you could tell there's like a veil of like, sarcasm of like being um like very cartoonish villain, right? There's like that veil kind of over
What was
top
the
of it.
one bus or one boss that was like something? He said something like, "Wait at the bus stop," and he throws a bus at you.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's very like 80s one liner, like Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Iceman and Batman Returns or whatever it was, or it was like chill or something like that type of humor. It's very, I like it. I know some people are gonna think it's stupid, but I love it.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's just fun, man. It's like a nice harken back to like our childhood and things like that.
Exactly.
You're not seeing much of that nowadays, so it's really cool to like see that kind of pop up. I
And
def
not in the way that like Dragon Age Veilguard writing was, where it was like the Marvel Josh Whedon style writing. It's very much like we're aware that we're being stupid and we're leaning into it, which
yeah.
I appreciate a lot more.
Yeah, I think Veilguard took theirs like way too serious,
That
dude.
just happened.
Yeah, like that's basically that's a good way of just sort of summing up their writing in general, for Veilguard that is. But yeah, no, I mean I think the game's phenomenal. I definitely think it's gonna do some numbers this year. I don't know if it's gonna be like a It Takes Two Game of the Year type winner. I definitely think now that It Takes Two is out, it's sort of set the bar really high. Again, we're only a couple hours in, so it'll be hard to tell. This will kind of live up to that. I would imagine, with each iteration of their games, they're gonna get a little bit tighter. The story, the mechanics, and the like, kind of getting rid of the fluff of it. And that is one
It's
thing I've
definitely
heard.
I'm gonna say it's definitely like their most detailed work so far. I think because they had the success with It Takes Two and A Way Out. Like A Way Out was kind of like a cult popular game. Like I know people who played it, but I don't know like normal people who played it. Only like people into video games.
Yeah.
But like I know so many fucking people that normally don't play video games who are like, oh yeah, It Takes Two was like my favorite game because they played it with a friend who loves video games or something. Oh, one thing we should mention is the fact like the way they set up the friend system, like how only one person needs to own the copy.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you guys aren't aware, when you only one person needs to buy it, and then you can like on Steam, for example, is how we're doing this. Although you can do it on EA's what is it, EA Play, whatever their
EA
app is.
Play, yeah,
Yeah, so only one person needs to buy it, and then the other person should also see a download. This I'll have on the screen, by the way. They'll also have a download for like the friend version of that, and it's as simple as once you download it, I'll invite you via Steam's like in-game menu, and then you're in, and that's really it.
yeah,
It could
and
not be any
it's
more simple.
cross-platform as well. If you log into EA Play, you could play multi-platform and everything, even if only one person owns it. Like the system is great. I think any co-op game should have that system.
Yeah, for sure. It's exactly like It Takes Two. So if you guys have played that, it'll be exactly the same. It functions exactly the same way. So, it's a really cool fucking system. I gotta admit, like you said, dude, this should be like the standard. Because obviously this
100%.
game did not suffer from like a lack of sales. Despite that, I think if anything, that enticed people who otherwise wouldn't want to do it, or at the very least enabled people who wanted to like say if me and my girlfriend wanted to get it, we'd go 30 in each. You know what I mean? Like it enables
Yeah.
that in a much more it makes it easier to like digest, I guess, when you're doing that purchase. So definitely really really cool. I can't think if there was anything else. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say on this, but I think in my opinion this is an easy buy. I can't even it's so easy to recommend and to pick up just to try out, even on Steam.
100%. If you have a significant other or like a friend who's not usually into video games and you want an experience of playing with them, it is fucking seamless.
Yeah, I definitely think that you can play it for an hour and know exactly what you're going to get out of the game. So even if you don't like it, which I'd be very surprised about, you could just return it on Steam, and you and
Yeah.
somebody else can both enjoy that, for that short little experience. So definitely a must buy, in my opinion, especially if you have a partner. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. It's a wonderful game.
Uh, but I don't have anything else in mind. I think that's pretty much it. It runs well too. There's not that many graphic settings, but like you wouldn't expect that from this game. Um,
It does, even though it's very stylized, like it's not like it doesn't look like, like this game is like the graphics are incredible, but it's so stylized that everything looks great to me.
Yeah, the art style is really good. What's nice is that like there's not a lot you're interacting with in the environment, so they can like kind of pre-bake a lot of the way it looks
Mhm.
and keep that fidelity really high. Whereas if you look at something like Monster Hunter, where the new one Wilds, like it's so dynamic, everything is kind of like a lower quality asset to make up for the fact that there's a multitude of assets for one piece of like land or whatever the case is. Whereas in this, everything's really static, so they can up it really, really heavily, and they do so very well. They take advantage of that very nicely. I think it's great. You guys should try it out.
Check us out on Twitch, subscribe, like, comment on the YouTube video. Come back for more, please. We're trying a lot of new stuff this month. We finished up Stalker recently, so we're on to bigger things.
Bigger and greater things. But yeah, we will catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.